Boss Media. Let me write that down.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, I'm Linel Quinn. I'm here in the green room with Boss Media. I want to thank them personally for giving me this opportunity to be on your show today. I want to thank the Kings for this opportunity to share my platform and what I am here to do in regards to speaking on the justice for Earnest Jackson. Now, Earnest Jackson, just to give you a story, was 17 years old, 21 years ago, where he and a few of the other, maybe two, it was like two other people from the community, they were all charged and with a crime, a murder of a young man named Larry Perry. And they all were tried, and because of Earnest Jackson, the 17-year-old that actually was not there at the scene of the crime, at home actually in his auntie's basement playing video games, because we know back in 1999 one of the biggest game systems was like PlayStation and Nintendo 64, so he was at home, a very credible understanding of that. But then shots rang out while he was at home, and to my understanding his cousin ran into the house to call to check on him while he was actually downstairs at his auntie's house playing video games. So he was picked up, identified as fitting the description. He was picked up, and him and a young man named Chellis and Coopenrider, their last names, they were picked up and they were all charged with murder of Larry Perry. But because of Jackson, Earnest Jackson, his number was so close to being between the three, his number came up first. And he went to trial. And the evidence found him guilty because there was only a he say, she say in it. There was no witness that could come forth. And the reason being is because the defense attorney for the actual shooter, which was Mr. Coopenrider, told him not to speak until it was his trial. And then his trial, of course, came second, to where even though Mr. Jackson was convicted and tried of murder, the actual shooter, which was Coopenrider, his sentence was overturned and turned into a self-defense because Larry Perry, the victim, had a weapon. And because of it being overturned and his sentence and all of that was overturned, he was able to speak on behalf of Mr. Chellis. Mr. Chellis was the third co-defendant, and they both were acquitted because the trial came from once was murder to self-defense. And unfortunately, to their demise, they were executed a little later afterwards. But 21 years ago, to this date, a man that wasn't even there, a man that was accused of a murder that was turned into literally self-defense, is still in prison today. Now, how do you spend 21 years in a prison system? Now, I really want people to really focus on how do you even fathom to believe that from playing a video game to being in prison for a crime that you didn't commit. An innocent man for 21 years and won't even get the ability to go for the eligibility for parole until 13 years from this year. I mean, this is really a no-brainer case because here's one of the most funniest part about all of this. Everybody that's been involved and that heard the Earnest story has at one point shaken their head or scratched their head like, well, how? So my simple question to the public is that justice for a person that have not done anything wrong? Do we intend to keep a person in prison another day, another year, for a crime that he didn't commit? Now, to be honest with you, I'm not from here. I was 9 years old at the time. To hear, like, this case, you have to wonder, there has to be more, there has to be more. But there is no more. Another thing that caught my attention is the Court of Appeals denied his appeal because his statement was he wasn't there and the shooter confessed that he was a shooter and he was told not to speak on his behalf. The Court of Appeals refused it because they said the evidence that he was presenting what they were already known about. So not only did the justice system know that he was wrongfully accused, They didn't even allow him justice to even get the ability to prove his case. They tried to throw this one away. Like, how many other people are in prison today that have died in prison, that have been, killed and murdered in prison for false accusations, or not even giving a person a chance to speak their truth? And then, to top it off, the Supreme Court found, when I'm going to say this, the Supreme Court found that you can commit a murder, a shooting, because Larry Perry was shot in the head, bullets. But you can convict somebody for a shooting without having a deadly weapon. Literally. How do you tell somebody that, oh yeah, this is a possibility without a weapon? 3 bullets in the head, unless he threw it at him, and they was just so strong to penetrate his brain, then, that man is a strong man. But the fact is, Mr. Jackson wasn't there. And let me be very clear, that this is not about a certain race of people being involved. This is about an American citizen understanding that people are unjustly imprisoned today, and that it's going to take a universal and a unanimous consent to all of us to work together, to be able to say, we're not going to be quiet. We're not going to allow the justice system to just wreak havoc on people and throw away the key. 60 to 80 years, and the only reason why he didn't get life is because he was 17, where the Supreme Court overturned giving a minor life in prison. So they're going to give him 60 to 80 years. And he was already close to 20. So they expected him to get out when he was 100. And how often does that happen? A man that wasn't even there. I'm sorry. I apologize. But that's my passion. That's what drives me to be here today. That's what drives me to appreciate people that are giving a platform to this to be told, because it's not just money involved. Here, take this money. Let me get on your program to talk about an innocent man. I'm in the green room right here and now because they reached out to me and saw that this vision of seeing an innocent man free, a complimentary of, here, let me help. This is not me trying to get any clout. Yes, I am running for mayor of the city of Omaha, Nebraska. This is true. But like I said in the very first town hall meeting, because I was supposed to present my statement to the people in regards to my platform for mayor, I said, we're not going to talk about that right now. Me and David Mitchell sat together. There was our town hall meeting. One of the first town hall meetings that were actually done that allowed people in rather than virtual. And we both agreed that we had a bigger issue to handle than our own political game. And this, the blueprint of the Earnest Jackson case, I have right in front of me, was more important. Because how do you sleep believing that you've done everything that you can, or not doing everything that you can to get somebody out? Because what if it were you or someone that you love? And I've even asked some of the senators and representatives the same question. I want to give a major shout out to Senator Blood, who definitely led me into a lot of associates and advocates who are already on the project. She literally answered her cell phone, and we spent at least 15 minutes on the call because she gave me the platform to help me utilize the tools that she had to help this man free. I want to thank Senator Megan Hunt, who reached out in regards, and then Senator Justin Wayne, other people that are coming forth now, because they heard you when we said that we're going to send letters and emails and phone calls to our representatives. They heard you. And I want to thank the Jackson family, Star and Jason Whitmer, for involving me and including me into this, that allowed me to bring forth a platform too, so that we can share the word. Because this is a united effort. Earnest Jackson needs to be free. This is our Earnest Strong movement. So what started off as an initiative with 15 to 25 people in a room has spread like wildfire. So I want to thank all of you that were dedicated, has stuck to the blueprint. And I'm proud to say that I'm one of the chairpersons for this movement. And I'm looking to move forward on this. So for you that want to be a part of this movement, to see an innocent man, your own native, Omaha, Nebraska, if you don't want to see another person in a situation like this, then I want you at the meeting tomorrow, September 11th, 2020, Emergency Day. at 2525 North 37th Street at Omaha, Nebraska. 7:30 p.m. And don't worry, if you haven't ate, there's going to be some great food there. The family is going to be preparing food for all that will be in attendance. And if you can't make it, this obviously cannot make it, then please make sure that you're on live, because we're going to do some talking. The people are going to know. So I want to just encourage all of you that are sharing videos, that are sharing pictures, to continue to do so. Don't let a friend of yours go by scrolling down on a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Don't let one person go down without seeing hashtag Free Earnest Jackson. That's FREEEARNEST Jackson. And if you're not a part of the group, it's Free-Earnest Jackson. That's on Facebook. And then for the Innocent, the actual Innocence Project, they've done a great article. They put it together. I've been working with a young lady named Carol, and they have a great program going on. To my understanding, there's going to be a lot of representation from multiple organizations. I want to first off and foremost want to thank one of the very first groups of people that have shown their support, which is Pro-Black. They're a group of people that come together that you're hearing chanting on 11th and Harney downtown. They're chanting for the injustice. They stand in solidarity. So I want to appreciate each and every one of you personally for that. But I also want to thank my co-chairs, which is David Mitchell and Joel Washington, because they've been on this from day one. And that's what I can appreciate. People that are like, we're ready to branch on. And please, don't be distracted. I'm asking you right now, don't be distracted by naysayers or people that refuses to be here to support Earnest Jackson due to ties in what they have with other people. Don't be the one that will say, oh, well, I want to help, but this person that's working or leading the way isn't a person that I want to support as mayor or as city council member or as president. Don't let that be the reason why you decide to stop. Because here's the thing. If you allow a person to influence you to do something that you don't want to do based off of the connections, what they have, then you need to reevaluate to understand that it is not about me. It is not about you. It's about the freedom of man that's been innocent. So let's put our differences aside and work together. Let's put away our differences. I apologize about that, and I do understand that you all want it. I did mention that I am running for mayor of the city of Omaha. I don't know how much time we have left, but yes, I am honored to be in this position to run for mayor of the city of Omaha, because I want Omaha to know that what you're seeing me do right now is what I would do for the city. I will advocate for justice. I will advocate for those that want to see our community strive and thrive and grow stronger. I want to advocate for people that I may have opposing views with, but willing to bridge the gap with them, to bring the unification of it. I was telling a friend the other day that I have the Dr. Martin Luther King mentality, but I also have the mindset that if we have to, resort to Malcolm X by any means necessary. We want to bring unity, but we're going to do it by any means necessary. Now, I understand that people have agendas, but my agenda is transparent and perfectly clear. I was accused of sexual harassment, and unfortunately, that has just been something that is an automatic win for people that are already biased towards certain avenues. And let me be clear for those of you that knows about this particular accusation. I fought myself for not understanding the whole gist of it, and that's paying attention to someone who expressed even later that they may have felt uncomfortable with the conversation had. But I want to be clear. My conversation with anybody is to first seek permission to do so. If you ask me to be real with you, and you give me consent to do so, I'm going to be real with you. With no objections, I'm going to continue to. And if you dialogue with me, we're going to have a major dialogue. But if then later you tell me you felt uncomfortable, then I need to apologize for making you feel uncomfortable. Because it was not my intent to do that. My intent was to just bring you truth, which I have been. Not to any personal gain. And I say that because that is a distraction that is going on right now. I have never sexually harassed anybody in my life. One thing I will say is that I know I am misunderstood oftentimes in conversation. And that's what I'm working on. And that's why I believe in restorative justice. And I want to thank Mr. Fox from the Culture House to give me this opportunity to do so. Because I'm not perfect. I'm not a politician. I'm a person that's passionate. I have a passion to see our city thrive. One thing I want to talk about before I go on. Ultimately, I would like to see the city of Omaha a tax-free city. And how I want to do that is I mentioned the casinos. I believe that the citizens of Council Bluffs, Iowa, for those that comes over here, of course, that are taxed by our city taxes, but they're not taxed at home because of their casinos, compared to us as citizens of Omaha that go over and donate, or I should say invest millions and millions of dollars into their casinos. I want to make it to where, if I'm elected mayor, that we can eliminate the taxes that we put on the citizens of Council Bluffs if their casinos are willing to fund our city taxes. So that way we can actually do away with city taxes in both cities. And to be quite frank with you, I would like to decriminalize the usage of marijuana, and for those that have been imprisoned for the usage of possession of marijuana. I would like to utilize the marijuana because how many people have come up and said, well, I've used it before. Politicians, great people of high stature have said that they've used it before, but they wasn't criminalized. But we need to be able to say, you know what? If they weren't, then we're not going to hold anyone else accountable. That is where the accountability comes in. So yes, let it be known that I will be a mayor that would advocate for the city to decriminalize marijuana, the uses of marijuana.